like a good read on what Liquid's plan is with these four. Like, do you think the last pick is just gonna be solving everything, or am I seeing problems that aren't there? Like, I look at this lineup and I have a hard time imagining how you enter fights, what the game plan is entirely, like what timing you're aiming for. I think that's way more straightforward for me with OG's draft.
Now select your heroes.
Yep, there's your fight starter.
Yeah, that helps for sure.
Slight and power user too.
Ember Mag. Sure. Okay.
I mean, I think you either go the route where you pick a spirit and you say, okay, we're gonna try and play some actual tempo, hold some of the map, be able to engage you, or you pick some ultra carry there, put the Razor mid, use them as a bulwark, and say at some point we're gonna enter the Roche pit, come into us, and use the Dazzle Mag as counter initiators, which is a route you can go, though I don't think it would have worked out that well for him, just because I think it's pretty hard to play that in the current meta.
I definitely think the Ember was the right direction for this. And now they've ended up putting the Magnus position 3, so he's going to get more levels. The supports were Dazzle Weaver, and OG opted for Tide 5, so they did come in that direction, and they will play this Lara offlane. I think it's really exciting. I'm happy Liquid picked this last hero. That has me a little bit more confident in, at least I have an easier time envisioning what they're trying to do now with the strategy. So this might be another great game.
And Avery, you were saying that depending on where the Razor might go versus the Slardar might have to do tricky stuff with wave pulling. Is that still going to be the case? Because it is Matu on the Razor, Amar on the Slardar.
That can be a really tough lane. It depends if they find a way to wiggle out of the early waves. For example, they get to the level 3 and they can all in with the minus armor, the cookie, the stun, whatever. Like, Razor can even die on that lane if all things are even. But it's a question of do you ever get there on an even footing. And it should be pretty difficult.
Let's find out. It's time for game number 2 with Jenkins and Moxie.
All right, well, OG was showing some very strong dominance in game number 1. It's time for Liquid to punch back and maybe utilize, this Zai Magnus is always a very fun thing to watch.
Thanks for kind and nice words.
Yeah, you have a carry Razor is the only thing to pair up with it. Like, they're relying fairly heavy on Nikkei having a solid game here to be the Magnus power target. I feel like SF is really good as a carry. Like, I almost want to say he's just a carry. Like, he's a better carry than he is a mid. I don't know if we've seen it lose yet.
I'm not sure. I do know that we are seeing it.
At least I haven't.
Very, very powerful when they start doing this right-click build. Just so fast.
It is so hard. You just get crit for your entire HP if you're a Dazzle. It's sad, but great lane for a Dazzle. I mean, Dazzle Razor. Slardar, it's gonna have such a tough time here. Like, Razor alone, you just run at him. You just run at the Slardar, steals damage, easy last hits, Dazzle, you press the Q, keep that buff up. Although it doesn't work with the Razor's right clicks anymore. It's just Dazzles, but it does slow a lot now.
How do you approach this lane then? How do you make this so you're not, being totally zoned out or feeding?
I think maybe it was SVG that had mentioned it. The wave cutting is definitely the play. Like, anytime you're in one of these really unfavorable lanes, it's like 60-30, you just cut wave. And in the off lane, you can always get away with that, so why not?
Cool down here, BZM. Yoragi will start off the game with the first blood.
Not even trying.
Wait, did Yoragi start a Presence of the Dark Lord? That is cool. So that's a lot of right-click damage for that level 1 engagement. Unfortunately, with the kill, he doesn't get any souls, but still, I mean, -4 armor at level 1. People were talking about how the TA meld is OP because it was, -7 armor at level 1. -4 permanent and that's pretty nuts as well.
Well, it was enough to help give him that first blood, that's for sure. So
yeah, with 5 heroes right-clicking, it's a ton of damage.
Interested to see how this lane goes now. The way that you obviously know Liquid wants to dominate, and Yoragi down here just gonna keep trading some hits with Foxy. Not much that Misha can really do here other than throw his body forward at this time.
Insania dealing with this Taiga 6 mangoes, like, so annoying.
It's gonna keep on regenning here.
Oh, yeah. 13 regen with the tango going, 7.3 without.
I know it's not a traditional 1v1, but I feel like every time we look over at Taiga and Insania, it feels like a 1v1. The way that they keep going after each other.
You know they're going for each other too. Like,
it's friendly competition, like when you play in an in-house with your friends. Sort of deal. It's a little bit more official.
Yeah, with the Major on the line.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Potentially. But it is nice to see the boys having a good time, realizing that there's no bad blood between the two of them.
I mean, this is
refreshing.
This is kind of cool. The way that they're dealing with this lane is that Taiga just bought these mangoes, which looks hilarious, but it gives him a ton of regen. And he's just playing to the right and soaking all of the Dazzle Qs for Slardar. So Amar's actually having a pretty good lane.
It does feel like if Amar has a very comfortable lane, they usually get to put this massive amount of aggression out of OG. Perhaps that's the idea, is like, all right, this guy is one of the keystones to how they like to play. Let's make sure that he's feeling miserable, but he's having a good enough time.
He's doing okay. I mean, 6 denies on top of man, so that's rough, but Slardar versus Razor, what
Well,
do
we
you
were
expect?
concerned that they would like feed though at this point. Like it would be just too difficult for him to even approach.
Yeah, I thought they would. I really thought they would get boots on Taiga and wave cut. SF is so annoying as a safe laner. You basically have to kill him.
He needs to be a little careful here. They do a lot of damage. They're just walking down box C. He does have the Scoochie up at the last minute, but that is a lot of damage that's been applied, and does just pick up some fresh regen. So
Nice dumpstering here, though. I mean, this is another one of those, like, last game we saw this as well, between the Pango and the TA. Mag versus SF is another one of these, like, 1v1 mid matchups that you'll often see, and Mag does really well against SF early because of the huge damage advantage that you have. But eventually, I believe SF will, you know, freely CS
take
here.
off, yeah.
Although Misha being a Tidehunter is a bit of an issue. I think you're much more comfortable with a Weaver supporting you than a Tidehunter supporting you.
Right.
So there is actually kill threat on SF down here.
Was this a situation that after a certain point, Yoragi's just going to go off into the jungle and just going to allow Misha to soap, or?
He can. SF definitely can once you have lifesteal, but to me, this hero is played a lot better when you, like, maybe get a kill with a rotation from Puck or something, and then you just dominate the lane.
Okay.
By just getting huge CS with your, 100 damage.
Taiga realizing they don't have anything to cancel this TP, so it's just gonna zip on out right underneath their noses. Again, it's a very measured game here. Nothing too wild right off the bat. Just gonna farm up and be patient, wait for those item timings, and I think we're gonna see a very aggressive OG start running at Liquid.
People have gotten so good at laning. This is such a frequent occurrence these days in every region, where you just don't see a huge amount of kills in the early game until like the runes start spawning and people start moving out of their lanes. Like, people have gotten so good at securing range creeps and, you know, blocking pulls, playing to the right and left of the lane. Like, laning in general has gotten a lot better from people, and so it's just funny. Like, 2 years ago, there would be so many kills at this point, but this is just how Dota is now. People are too good.
I think we were having that conversation. Back to that shockwave. Skewer forward here from Zai. Wants to put enough damage out. Not going to quite have it.
A prize.
They'll be absolutely fine. But no, we were having this conversation in the green room and talking about how just the scale of Dota has... Taiga, can he get the deny? Yes, he can. It's going to be the neutral creep who gets the final hit.
You see what I mean? It's like, people are just so good at, like, buzz killing. You're just not going to kill me. I'm going to die to tier 2. I'm going to die to neutral creeps. You know, it's like, oh, I'm suiciding right now for regen. Like, and killing people is not even that good anyway, because they come back and they're full HP, full mana, and then they just own you. So
the skill cap has definitely evolved to be much higher, though, as we get further and further here.
Oh, there it is. Yeah. I mean, it's like...
Yeah, might as well. Might as well.
It's such a funny state that Dota is in, and I think a part of it, new bottle fills as well. Same idea.
Water boy. Ooh, so nice rotation coming out from Dazzle, but again, just gonna be able to zip away. They don't have any super hard lockdown. They'll slow down, make it a little bit with the scatter blast. We'll force BZM though to go and use that fairy fire just to ensure he finishes up this bottling. But yeah, like you said, like, it's all coming down to these minuscule details. Which is really kind of crazy to think about. Like,
To me-
remember when people first started smoking to go and plant wards? Like, we were all like, oh my god, that's next level. Now it's next nature to us.
Yeah, I think the first like reaction to that was like, oh, that's terrible. Why would you solo smoke? And then slowly but surely you realize like the amount of vision that you get from it's like, oh my god, that's amazing. Why wouldn't you
haven't we been doing this the whole time?
Exactly. Yeah. Suiciding, very similar thing. I think a part of it is like the fact that careers take so long to bring you regen, and yet lanes are like so easily won by just buying a ton of regen for your core. So it's kind of like the supports get owned.
Ooh. Nice hop here. Boxy forced to pop some of that regen. You have a little bit of a rotation from Taiga. Now this seems wild to me too, the fact that they're just leaving Amar up here all alone. And again, I feel like this lane should have gone much differently for the side of Liquid, from what everyone was saying anyway.
He's not supposed to farm that well. I mean, he's not. Like, the old Dazzle, where the Q could be procced by Razor, you could probably kill Amar up here. But another thing that has changed in the past few years with Dota is people are really good at, like, staticking and always 50-50ing the off lane. Just pulling the creeps back to your tower, and it's like, you're not going to dive that tier 1 tower to get a kill on Amar. So as long as like he can cut waves and deward and pull camps and stuff like that, like he's got ways to play the lane.
Indeed he is. Nice little bash here over on Zania. Just gonna back off. Bottom lane, the cookie out forward. Not sure they have quite enough to finish off Zai. He is underneath the tower. Foxy clicking away on Taiga, looking to see if he gets the final kill, but Taiga going to run into the arms of his fellow supports. They'll salve up. As a Zai, but Zai's salve gets interrupted thanks to that gush. A little bit of a stack cam here too. A couple of these creeps.
I like that they're down here with Taiga, because I feel like this is recognizing that SF, if given like a little bit of a lead, can just absolutely dumpster in terms of CS. Like, you just can't enter the lane against him. But Zai is honestly just playing this really well. Like, his little mechanics with like pulling creeps away, like you can see him doing that with the hard camp, you know, getting last hits with his empower. Like, Zai is just a really good instinct player in general, but also like when it comes to lane.
I also think this is a very good hero for him on top of everything else. We do see the rotation with the Razor. Go for the RP coming out from Zai. Let's steal all the damage as possible. Yagi trying to run away. He's not going to be able to do it. He will fall. So will Misha on the back line. So a good rotation here. And again, it's Matamba, man.
Radiant's bottom tower.
I love his rotations in both of these games. Once again, just to like restate it, it's not something.
It's not typical of your position one to make the rotations, right?
No, it's not.
But I would say this is something that Liquid does even before they picked up, you know, Matsu here, is that they always kind of hold that thought. Use the Dream Coil, Box, try to get some damage over on BZM, there's no portion back of it. So the Dream Coil gets used, doesn't end up resulting in a kill. But I would say that, you know, OG in the past, they always were very flexible with the way that they move their players. So it wasn't necessarily, you know, always the mid player who's going to be moving. It's not always going to be Koi5. It was, you know, sometimes it was Mickey, sometimes it was Boxy. Sometimes it looks like Zai's taking a lot of damage here. Needs to get himself underneath that tower. Yagi starts pulling up. He's going to turn back around, give a couple clicks up to Mickey. BZM joining in, has the silence up. They need to have some sort of way to hold him in place, though. I'm not sure they possess it at this time, as more people joining into the fray here. Misha getting clipped around. Boxy dropping the swarm over onto Amar. Needs to be careful, staying very, very low. So has to get that bug off as fast as possible. Looks like BZM will assist with that. Gonna just go away, but they still manage to get the call onto Amar. Misha clicking away on Zai. Taiga's here, though. They're gonna try to make some moves over onto Zai, but they need to be careful they don't go too far. Another orb getting tossed out. Boxy looking for this opening. The Remnant forward. They'll find the kill on BZM. Liquid this time bringing all the aggression to the door of OG.
Nice words.
They're not done. They want Misha. Can they get him? Yes, they can.
I love how active they're being. Like, Boxy in particular, every single time you see a play made by OG, it's like the camera moves a little bit to, you know, the south or the north or whatever, and it's like, oh, Boxy's already there, throwing bugs on the back lines. Like, he's being such a tremendous pain in the ass right now, and you know, you are a hero that has max move speed, so I suppose it's, you know, easier to do this on Weaver than other heroes, but to just have the wherewithal to, like, always be at the fight and in the most annoying place possible. I mean, it's carrying Liquid right now. It's letting Mickey, like, go back in every time. Like, he's just in and out, in and out. Keeping Zai alive, too. Zai's itemization. This keeps him alive. He's got the Ring of Health. Yeah, they're just like poking. Look at this.
I know, right up back lines. It's beautiful the way that Boxy's allowed to skirmish throughout this entire time.
He was mid too, doing this like exact same thing that we saw in the bot lane. He was being so annoying. Like this looks like a really good hero for Boxy.
Are scanning.
Well, he played some of that in the off lane, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not like he's a stranger to it. It's just slightly less farm priority.
Yeah, he's not a stranger to forward position either. It's like on previous Liquid, he would frequently play forward position, sometimes swapping in and out with Tanya.
Getting so excited about the entire webcam shakes here, but Misha is gonna get left behind as Matu uses that plasma field. BZM gonna grab himself up a nice invis rune. Mickey is going to be denied of that.
Poor Misha, his inventory is so barren.
Sometimes it'd be like that as the fight.
It's so sad. No boots, please. I need shoes, my feet. But BZM does have his travels up. That means that like, OG naturally are going to have a bit of a map advantage. He can always be bot and then also like show up towards top.
I'm not even trying right now, and I'm lagging.
They're really protecting this top tower quite well. Had a couple skirmishes coming out here from the side of OG. They've just not been successful as Liquid seems to have a good idea of how they want to approach this. But again, sometimes it feels a little like they just keep throwing bodies up against the wall, right?
I like it. I mean, they have the heroes for doing it. Last game, Matumba Man was running around on a troll, which is pretty atypical, and you know, running around on a Razor, maybe atypical for a carry, but not atypical for a Razor to do. So they do have the heroes for running and taking these small skirmishes, absolutely. Like, they don't have crazy team fight, but they do have these like great skirmishing heroes. Weaver, Ember. Once Zai gets up his blink, like they will have good team fight, but you know, that's always a later item for Magnus offlane.
I was referring more to the fact that OG keeps throwing bodies up into this top lane. Like, you can tell they really want to crowd
OG does, yeah.
They're just struggling.
Yeah. That rotation from Yuragi was one of those, like, on the cusp of, if you go at, like, 6 minutes, there's almost no way to defend a tier 1 tower. And so he dies, and then he goes up there, and he's like, well, okay, I can't go back bot because it's unsafe now, so I'm just going to go top and get the tower. But it's getting to the period where, like, you now need to make a move for that tower. Right. So it was in that weird like interim period where it's hard to be 100% sure if that's a good play or not. And I remember in that fight, like Zai survived at 10% HP or something. So it almost was a good play from OG. It's just like a little bit of a miscalculation and good plays from Liquid.
So is this a situation where OG should continue to throw their bodies over at Liquid because Liquid does have a great skirmishing lineup? No. Or, yeah, that's what I wanted to know. Yeah, look, you can see Boxy spent a lot of time up here and did end up falling in one of the earlier skirmishes. I like how you say Boxy because it's Slardar. You're like, oh, surely that must be Boxy. Oh, yeah. Oh, my God, my brain. My brain. I see Slardar and I think immediately like Boxy. Yeah.
Not even trying right now.
Yeah, Mar's been chilling top and he is close to his blink dagger, so I think that's probably what they're going to wait for. They also have Ravage on Misha, who probably his timing is to get a pair of boots so he can actually get in there and hit that Ravage. He's getting closer. He's saving up those pennies. Look at it. Yeah, he's got them queued up. There we go. Yeah. Hell yeah. Boots. No. What are you doing? Go get your boots. Doesn't have enough yet for the boots. He's gonna walk into Zai. Zai going to deny Misha the dream of having boots on his feet. How'd that they go for this chat? Yeah, you know, they're gonna fight into Amar here if they're not careful. But drag back. Oh God, Misha's.
Dire's top tower.
Let the man have boots.
That's one of those things where if you're Misha and you walk up there, you're like, what the hell is Zai doing here? Zai has the habit of doing that. He's just in like really weird positions, but then they end up being extremely good positions. Like his read on things, his instincts are just insane.
Look at the way that they're zoning over here. Like Liquid is just completely taken over this area. And it looks like OG just doesn't know how to respond to this now.
Ember is looking like a really good hero in both of these games.
Radiant's middle tower.
Mickey's well known for his Ember play,
yeah, Mickey's playing it extremely well. Like I just want to shout out Boxy because of his like being in the right place at all times. But Mickey on Ember, it's the same thing. He's been just poking and being this like massive nuisance. Super farmed, and you know we talked about it, like he's the hero that needs to be farmed because they have a Magnus in power, so he's the one that's going to be getting buffed up by this. So him having a good game is really good for Liquid.
Mickey just walking into the smoke gank immediately. Is leashed up. Does have Boxy nearby. Does have Insania though. He's going to be able to go throughout the shallow grave. A little longer. In fact, Mickey thinking about going back, and that's like this. It's a considerable amount of damage.
Thanks for kind.
He's got his
nice
Sange
words.
now too, so like man.
Zai has a full Lotus Orb, by the way.
Yep. I'm actually seeing this a lot more frequently these days. Lotus, it's just an amazing item. It's fantastic against Slardar. It's fantastic against all of the minus armor that OG
Radiant's
has. Actually, I saw
middle
Zai
tower
do this
is
in a
under
pub.
attack.
He was silencer off lane. And he went
Dire's
plate
top
mail,
tower
plate
is
mail,
under attack.
building into a Shivas and a Lotus Orb. So
Radiant
like he
are
just thinks that
standing.
if you're gonna do a minus armor strat, there's just good enough armor in the game that it's just not good.
More bugs being placed now. They have the medallion on Misha. A couple of these quick silence, though, getting used on
Radiant's
Mickey.
bottom
Has to
tower
back off,
is
but they have the
under attack.
Lotus Orb to help protect him. Feels like OG, they just keep trying to crack this tower, but Liquid giving them no quarter at all.
Now that, like, and the more that I think about the Lotus Orb, I'm thinking about how OG like wants to get back into the game, and to me, it's they pick up the Blink Dagger on Slardar, and then they like burst somebody with the minus armor in the stun duration. But if Zai is just sitting behind and like Lotuses somebody and takes that minus armor off, I think that Liquid has such a gold
Radiant's
lead
top tower is
that if
under
it's like an
attack.
Ember getting gone on, or even like Matumba Man getting gone on, I don't think they're going to kill them because of this Lotus Orb. So Zai, by picking this item up first, like it looks funny, but he's kind of like
Dire's
taking away
bottom tower is
the
under
one
attack.
way, the one obvious way back into the game for OG, which is super cool. I mean,
Completely buffing and protecting, right? Like you've got an Empower that he's going to throw out. You've got the fact he's got a Lotus Orb that's going to be able to remove any silences. It's nice. It's definitely a different way of looking at, playing the
Dire's
position
bottom
for the
tower is
offside.
under
it's
attack.
really good. And pairing it up with Matumba Man's BKB timing too, you
Radiant's
can't just
top
ravage
tower
him
is
and
under
deal with him
attack.
that way. And you also can't just slaughter amp him and deal with him that way. Like, if you can't kill him with physical and you can't kill him with magical, like what the hell
do you
is
kill him?
What's left?
Radiant's
What's
top
left?
tower has
It's so
fallen.
smart.
OG feeling a little pressured here, not feeling comfortable enough to be fully in their own triangle. They are split up a little bit though. They're trying to, push out several lanes. You can see BZM doing the puck thing, where he's just gonna try to give it a shove. Of course, very difficult to get your hands on them, but they're in the Roche pit.
Yeah,
They're on the side of Liquid. They're not afraid. They have plenty of negative armor. It's pretty hard for them to make these moves. In fact, look at this Boxy. He's gonna go poke a little Misha. Again, they have that medallion, and this is some of their big team fight here. If they lose Misha, it's just, yeah, look at that. Just a casual little click coming out from Matu.
My boy still has no boots. I mean, this is how support Tidehunter can feel if the lane doesn't go particularly
Dire's
well,
bottom
where
tower is under attack.
you're kind of just a Ravage, but Liquid hasn't given them the opportunity to use the Ravage in a way that wouldn't just be terrible.
Yeah, if he went, we lose Taiga there, but like if they had forced out a Ravage, it would have been a waste. It
Yeah,
would have been a complete waste because, he needs to have that. So they're just finding him really early. And again, that is, the position 5, you're supposed to tank, ganks, break smokes, but when you're that important, it becomes a lot more difficult for you to play this role on that hero.
Yeah, the Ravage becomes more and more important the farther behind you fall, because it's like, okay, like, how are we going to kill them when we're at this deficit? Like, we need to hit more and more heroes with this AoE ability, because then you get more value out of it. But you're doing that with a guy that like just picked up boots, and God knows he's not getting a Blink Dagger for another 20 minutes in this game. So yeah, it's
Dire's bottom tower
it's
is under
tough
attack.
from OG, and
Dire's
Liquid is just
bottom
doing a really good job
tower has
pressuring. But also on the flip side, I like that OG is like, all right, we're in just farm mode. Like we're never fighting them. We're not going to get this top tower.
Dire's
Let's
bottom
just split
tower
push them.
is under attack. Roshan has fallen to the
Lose rush for that though.
Do indeed. So Matumba Man picking up the Aegis of the Immortal. And I'll be interested to see how they decide to move here. We did just get a Blink Dagger picked up for the puck on the side of OG, so there'll be a little bit more initiation if necessary. God knows Misha is not going to be able to provide that. Not right now, anyway.
He's trying.
He is. He is indeed. But this Blink Dagger knocking out that puck right now. Throw out that Lotus Orb. Oh!
Dire's structures are fortified.
Ooh!
I like that Zai tries for it. Like he just can't resist but to go for the really high skill plays.
Doesn't matter.
Where like you shouldn't
This
be able to
stuff
catch a
actually
puck
doesn't matter.
because puck can just phase shift blink in the right direction, but he's like, I'm gonna frame perfect this. Okay, Zai, let's relax, dude.
Maybe next time. Amar, though, does get spotted out by Insania and Nick. They won't run into them. They'll go for the Ravage. Oh, look at the button pushing, though. They get the save off. Last second, Amar will fall. Nick, is he gonna make it out alive thanks to his support? It looks like he is. Down 4 here from BZM. Going to try to punish this, though. He stayed a little bit too long, Nick. All of Insania's hopes and dreams were not, as now he's gonna get clipped down by BZM. Zai also forced to run away. Can they finish him off? Can they cancel it out? They cannot. So they'll end up losing Mickey, despite Insania's best confident here. And Zai immediately going out vertical, waiting patiently. This time they'll be able to kill the puck.
It's a big rip in pepperonis to hit such like a sick shallow grave, and then your core just like walks in and dies afterwards. Like, no.
That was so fast. Those reaction times.
Yeah, that was sick. That was sick. I mean, the thing is, like, they get a bunch of kills from it, so just the delaying the death by that much longer does actually matter. Obviously, you would prefer if like Mickey just 100% survives there, and then you get the puck trade. But the grave allows you to eventually get the puck trade.
Ravage.
Like that was
bam.
That was like the last possible millisecond. He was about to get hit by that tentacle.
Very well played. Very good button pushing, but then you stay around just a little bit too long. These things happen.
Yeah, to be fair, like Mickey's been playing on the cusp for the entire game. That's what we've seen in both games from both of these Ember Spirit players, is just being this annoying menace that's like constantly using Slight and playing the perimeter of the fight. So like it's a fine line to tread is all.
Like we said, the margin of error is very small between both of these teams, as the level of Dota has just gotten better and better every single year. Everyone just starts getting better and improving. Especially
with these two teams. Like I genuinely feel like looking at the rosters, and especially with the performances we've seen, these are like two top caliber teams.
Oh, Misha, he's just gonna try to teleport out. Not sure if he's gonna make it though. Too much damage coming off of Mr. Tumba, and that's the shard for Taiga that just got sniped. That's a big deal.
Tubba Man has the
they go for the RP. Zai wants his kill. There's the rest of the teams nearby. Go for the Present Dark Lord, but he is not going to be able to survive that. Or rather, directly insults. My bad.
Dire's top tower is under
This
attack.
is the one downside to SF Carry, is how insanely squishy he is, and like boy does he feel this way when you're behind.
You can't get caught out like that. That's the problem. I don't expected them to be right there, though, the way that Zai just ran into this thing. Zamar should be able to teleport out in time, but sitting a little bit low here. As you can see, BZM, he was hoping to get this carrier snipe. Does realize that there are a lot of heroes nearby, though, so he's going to teleport out. Hi, go Zai. Whoop. There he goes. Gonna drag him a little bit closer, push him away. He's very tsundere, you know, this Magnus. But Taiga will be able to teleport away.
Oh, so close from McCabe. I just realized Yuragi is not maxing Presence of the Dark Lord. He actually has 4 points in stats and then the talent.
Is that typical?
No, I mean,
no, I don't.
Usually it's max Presence of the Dark Lord and you're skipping Raze for stats. And like now at this point, we're skipping the Aura for stats as well. Like at what point are we going 0 skills? You can't do that on SF, but it's funny how that works. And still he's not tanky enough to survive the RP combo.
Dire are scanning.
All right. Well, time is a-ticking. Liquid go for the smoke play, but also CT Misha. He's actually getting closer to that blink dagger. Now has to be very careful not to get picked off. Aegis does get reclaimed, but they do see BZM.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Be able to orb away. Looks like they're still hunting though, considering still chasing after him. Nikkei getting into position. They're gonna put pressure on this bottom tower. We already have Tumba pushing it and heading the building.
I love Refresher Orb on Razor. It's so good. You get 2 links, you get 2 ults. 2 plasma fields, which
Radiant's
is, you know,
bottom tower
alright,
is under
but most
attack.
importantly, 2 BKBs. And like, you can link the same guy twice, and you just get like literally double the damage. Unfortunately, you don't
Radiant's
steal
bottom
double the
tower
damage,
is falling.
but you do get double the damage. So you don't actually need to build damage items on Razor to do damage as a carry. And I think it's a really good hero.
Mickey about to walk into quite a few heroes that were smoked up, but Liquid also playing their own trap here. OG comes up the stair here. Zai walking forward is going to just blink back. Quite sure about the positioning here as they'll pop the BKB. Monty just running down Misha. Don't have to worry about that Ravage at all. As Liquid just continues to take control of this Radiant jungle. Put the pressure on.
I love the items that Liquid have built in this game. They have this Lotus Orb first on Zai, Sange on Mickey on the mid lane, so he's able to tank all of these spells. Boxy's got a Solar Crest, so that's more armor, and then AC's next item.
Going to buy back from the TIE Hunter. They want to punish this. They have the Dream Coil. There's going to be the fear coming out. Long range kisses from Taiga. They dropped as Liquid is forced back. Insania taking about to tick damage here. Misha throwing out the Ravage, but the slide. Oh, the slide from Mickey. Cleaning up. They're going to go right back in again. Mickey chasing after the Shadow Fiend. Turn their attention now to Taiga. They want to make sure that they can get the kill. Follow up. Boxy. Force to use the ultimate. The Puck should be able to run away. They'll throw the Pucks out just to see if they can get any more vision. Not going to be able to quite connect over on BZM now as they're forcing themselves into the base. There's still a
Radiant's
tower
middle
up
tower
there,
is
Liquid.
under attack.
Might want to focus on that before diving on in. But they're feeling bloodthirsty.
That was pretty close to the best initiation you could ask for from OG. Hitting both Magnus and Weaver, the two, like, you know, backlining slash supporting heroes. You're not hitting the Dazzle, it's probably your #1 hero. From Lamar. The Ravage was really good in that fight. Matumba didn't have BKB as well, and so and still it goes the way of Liquid. That's gotta feel bad.
Look at a high five here, BZM. Gonna get chased down. So Zai versus Mickey. Who could get there first? And it is gonna be Mickey.
Couple of free bounties too, not bad.
And all I can think of is that screenshot of Purge when he's found like what 4 bounties.
Yeah.
His face
Yeah,
just supremely disappointed.
The crazy thing about bounty runes in Dota is that, like, picking up those 2 bounties there is actually worth more in terms
Radiant's
of gold
middle tower is under
than
attack.
BZM buying on Puck.
Yeah.
So, with that being said,
Radiant's
obviously
middle tower
the actual
has
death
fallen.
timer is of
Radiant's top
supreme
tower
value.
is under
Like, that
attack.
means that you can run mid and get that tier 2 tower for relatively free on Team Liquid, and it also lets you control up this triangle.
Well, this time around, Liquid bringing all the aggression to OG, and OG's really kind of just tied into their base. You can see Amar is trying to push out, trying to get into the jungle, trying to get anything that he can, but the rest of the team struggling. See now the net worth 17k over on Razor, 14k on Ember, and Puck doing Puck things. Probably the only person who can really move about freely.
Dude, heads up.
Look at this. They know the chase is on after Amar. Slow down, using that plasma field to unleash up their fish, taking for a little swim, and it's a dead Amar.
Shout out to Insania, who placed the ward.
Taiga?
Taiga?
Bottom tower is under attack.
Hell yeah.
That ward on the top lane, the lane ward, that is the only reason that they were able to see. I can't see who placed that. I don't know if it was Insania or Boxy, but whoever placed that is an absolute god, realizing that OG, they're gonna have to run through these lanes and do these cheeky plays to get out of their base. So that's the only reason that they know that Amar is in there.
The ward belongs to Insania, by the way.
How do you see it?
You click on it, and then you click on another button.
I knew that was
Zai is
Insania
going
ward.
to push back on BZM here on the screen. The zip is on Mickey. He wants his kill Boxy. Keeping tabs. He's going to go a little bit further, but they needed more lockdown. So the slippery little fairy dragon will survive. And I will say, one good thing going for OG right now, look what Misha has.
I don't think it matters. I really, it's, you know, it's a 5 tide, so you're gonna get this item late, naturally. You're at a point where there's so much tankiness on all of these heroes that at this timing, if you're an offlane tide, you'd be waiting for
Oh
the...
god, they just immediately break the smoke.
Yeah, that's an Ember Spirit right there.
Oof, that's so bad.
It's really annoying that it works like that, but it does. Yeah, they're too tanky. He's gonna need to hit like 4 Wolf Ravage.
Zai getting all the info, seeing himself for Misha, and like you said, maybe that blink deck just doesn't do much of anything. Get Agi though, he'll try to buy himself a little bit more time, but the damage coming out from Liquid is too strong. It's a double kill for Mickey. Looking for some more. Matu is gonna be able to get a kill on him. And they've got a gem online, so they'll finish up on BZM, and they'll continue to just rip down the vision.
I love watching Zai play against heroes like Puck because you know he just loves these situations where it's like, I'm gonna frame perfect the skewer to get him out of his spaceship. Like he genuinely enjoys those moments so much that like you can't hide it. You know, it's like it's just so obvious in how he plays.
Yeah.
And I mean, it makes him an excellent player. Yeah, this is a bit desperate. You need to hit like a 4 or 5 man Ravage. Only 1 Ravage at this point to win.
Was it worth it for them to... Oh, there's someone dying on screen over there.
That was Taiga.
Ah, I see. Is it worth it after your smoke has broken to continue going forward in that manner? Or do you think they should have reset?
I think they're desperate. It's hard to make any other call at that point.
Lamar gets killed. I can't even say he got caught out, right? He's in his own base. They're just so aggressive here at the moment. Just chasing at Kiyonagi. Wants the final hit here. Maybe diving just a bit. But look at the damage. He kills Lamar. That was a dive back. Respawn coming back up now. Alright, that's a really good graphic, but I thought there's gonna be quite enough as they all hold the place. The beautiful recall on the central. The Matu, he's just too strong here. Froggy putting out a couple hits over on the Boxy. Immediately using that ultimate, just gonna get right back up again. Shikuching out. Takes a decent amount of damage, but he's still alive. You see him though chasing. They really want this kill. The silence getting used again over here on Boxy. But no, they'll find him with the final nuke. But while they're chasing him, there's a lot of damage happening over here. They take out Taiga, but they're still just running into the base here of OG. They take a tower.
And Mickey feels completely unkillable. Once again, I love the itemization from all of Liquid, building like this mass minus armor and HP, or this mass like plus armor and HP strat, because these crazy plays where they're diving could actually go punish if they have like one left. Oh wow.
They said, all right, this is looking too impossible. We're too far behind. So Liquid, we talked about the window not being open for them in game number 1, but in game number 2, they definitely fought back.
Yeah, they looked amazing on all counts. They all looked like they were